Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Power Block, episode 182. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is that retro code, Eddie V.
I'm loving a certain game called Kunai.
What?
Kunai. It is a Ninja Metroidvania.
Okay. I believe you. I don't know. I don't even know.
Dude, it's something that just.
Where do you find these games, dude? Like.
Okay. Okay. So, Nintendo Life showcased this game, and I was looking at it. I was just like, "Oh, this looks cool." Then I read them like a Ninja Metroidvania. I'm here for it. And then I saw the graphics, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is like a mix of alien hominid, iconoclasts, and kind of like a Metroid game, almost like a little bit in the vein of Super Metroid, but it's just like this is really cool. I'm digging this. The funny thing is, I can't play on my Joy-Cons because of the drifting, but playing it with the Pro Controller, I really am enjoying this game. It has its goofy, funny points to it, but it's a really cool game. You play as a tablet, and like the I think half of humanity is gone, or the majority of humanity is gone, and this one group is trying to, I guess, convert you over to them or destroy you. And it just happens that it's not like that. There's a resistance who kind of saves you, and then you go out, you find a ninja sword, and you start causing havoc. Everything, and it's a really great game. I don't have a double jump, but it has a big floaty jump like Princess Peach or for Super Mario Bros. 2. But you get up and you travel places using your kunais. And you know, you could. What's cool about this? They have one for the L button and the R button. No, ZL and ZR. So the one for the right is always on ZR, and the one for the left is always ZL. So you could, instead of doing like wall jumping and stuff, you get around using your kunais. It's pretty cool. Pretty fun game.
Interesting. I don't even know what to say anymore. It just sounds like I got lost, and now I just don't know what to say anymore. So
I say look at the trailer. I see no Nintendo Life, and I'm just like a Ninja Metroidvania. I'm down for this.
I mean, didn't they make that? Isn't that a game called The Messenger? Didn't they make that game already?
Well,
and isn't Yacht Club publishing a similar game?
I think that's the debatable. Is that Yacht Club one of Metroidvania game?
I don't know. Is it? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it except for that first trailer we watched. So I really don't know.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
I'm bad, everybody. I've been trying not to buy games, and then he
bought so many games that, well, yeah. that your credit card said you couldn't buy any more. So
then on top of it, everybody, and I'm honest. This is honest. I'm being open. I actually asked boss to like, hey Corey, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is so simple PS4. Should I buy it or should I wait? And he told me to wait. I know I'm trying to get my backlog stuff down, but I just keep adding more of 2020 games, not 2019 in the past, but more 2020 games. So besides a certain Devil that will be out later on this month, I decided to snag that one up.
Yeah. Well, Ed, besides that, how was your weekend? Was it good? Was it great?
Housekeeping was pretty great. Had a fun time with Josh Finnan from the internet. He was on Boss Rush podcast. So if you guys haven't checked
the internet.
if you guys haven't checked that episode out, check it out. We had a great discussion, answering questions and talking about different things in different games, and what we've been playing and stuff. But other than that, like, I've been having a fun time at work, laughing with my crew. Getting some games now. Just playing a lot more of my PlayStation than my Xbox. Because I've been trying to get some PlayStation games done and worked on before I jump back. Because I have Control ready for my Xbox to start that, or continue it, I should say. I'm making some progress in that for PlayStation, but been playing a lot of Switch also. But I've been trying to give some love to my PlayStation and work through some of those games on that system. So kind of held back on the Xbox for a little bit, but I will return to it and get some games and stuff done with that. So
nice. Well, yeah, I just kind of been hanging out and did a little podcast called Arsenal X last night with Jesse, and
yes,
it's the Xbox podcast we do, by the way, if in case you were wondering. Yeah, it's back. It went really well. I kind of was trying to figure out a good flow for the show, and I know we're gonna test Jesse out at hosting it at some point, but we had a good time. We talked a lot of Xbox, and it was a good time. It was really fun. We did I think like an hour and 45 minutes of Xbox talk last night. A lot of what?
I did throw up the X.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes. So happy.
Yeah, so I mean, it was fun. We kind of talked about it kind of went like a normal episode of Nintendo Power Block, right? But it was more of we talked a lot about how we wanted to do Sunday Night Arsenal stuff and kind of go over how we wanted the show to go and guests and talk about who would be joining us and stuff like that, because it was just me and Jesse, but I know Ray wants to be a part of it, and reached out to Antonio and Luke and Sean and a couple other people, just to get people's ears out there to guests and maybe be a part of it. Kind of have like a rotating guest every week and see how that goes. So Zombie, get her on there. So it should be an interesting iteration of this show. So.
Yeah, sadly, I probably won't be on it due to work, and that might make some people happy. I don't know why, but hopefully, if I get
you get too caught up in what the internet thinks.
I know. Hopefully, but if I get a Sunday off or I'm off before you guys record, hopefully I can make it and talk some Xbox with you guys.
Yeah. So. Well, I guess we can get into the show, since this is going to be kind of a longer night for us on stream. So we are going to record a couple episodes of the Retro Game Show live for you guys if you are watching on Mixer or Twitch, and then obviously those will go up in order on YouTube and stuff like that. But the housekeeping, it's time. This is Nintendo Power Block, Boss Rush Games Nintendo Podcast. Remember, you can email the show at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com or find our social media threads through Boss Rush Games when we ask for questions, so your questions can be answered on the show. You can follow us on Twitter at boss_rush_games and on Facebook and Instagram at Boss Rush Games. Join our Discord, Xbox community, Destiny Clan, and all sorts of other places that you can hang out with us. Also, live shows have returned to Mixer and Twitch, so you can go to mixer.com/bossrushgameslive or twitch.tv/bossrushgameslive and join us in the chat while we discuss stuff on air. You can also find all of our content on bossrushgames.com. Sorry, I had to swallow a little bit. Like before we get into what we've been playing, there's a couple things. One, kind of have done a poor job of promoting the retro game show, so I do want to point that out. We did do a whole run of A Link to the Past, and this second season, if you will, the second iteration of it is Super Metroid. So hopefully you go check that out. I have a couple personal videos I've been working on that should be making their debut this week. Very excited I've been wanting to do smaller YouTube type videos, just because we have a YouTube channel, and video podcasts are great, but they don't drive people to your YouTube channel, right? And right. And that's kind of what we've been doing with the Retro Show and Pod and Play and stuff like that also. But to get more kind of people searching for our YouTube channel, I've been working on a couple Nintendo short videos that I think people will enjoy. So I don't know if anybody out there watches the guys from Game Explain, but they do a lot of small short videos that are really fun and really cool, and I kind of want to do something along those lines. I really want to bolster our presence on
video production.
Yeah, I know I always say like the YouTube stuff is supplementary to our podcasts, but like as somebody who wants to edit video and do more creative stuff that way, like I really want to do more of that style of stuff in my off time. When I have it. So there's a few projects that I've been working on, a few ideas that I have that I'm really excited for, and I hope you guys enjoy them. My first couple videos are almost done. Hopefully the new intros and new trailer will be done this week as well, so hopefully those will be up in the next week or two. I want to get a lot of this stuff done and edited and finished before I go on vacation, which actually next week Ed and I will be doing a double dose of Nintendo Power Block because I will be on vacation. So that'll be fun. That episode's gonna be real fun, Ed. I haven't even told you what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be fun. Let's just say it's the third anniversary of the Nintendo Switch, going into its fourth year. It's its third birthday. So I think maybe we should talk about the best games on the Switch. Maybe a top 25 list.
Yes, I love lists.
A live top 25 list.
Yes, I'm so excited. So excited. I love doing lists. And I love, because you know me, I love to pull out the whole wacky stuff that I could.
I know you do. I'm going to have like a very bland generic list, and Ed's going to have like whatever game you just talked about at the top of the show. Like, what is this?
Be like, wait, what is this? Huh?
Yeah. So, but it should be fun. It should be fun. A fun evergreen style episode that you guys can listen to, and it should be really, really fun.
And it's a good way for people who are getting a Nintendo Switch, or they're getting a Switch Lite, if they're looking for a library of games to have on their system. Our 25 list, or this pretty much 50 plus some list of games, it's a good start, from real budget titles to the first party $59.99, or if you catch a sell them, like, it's going to be really good. There are going to be some, I think people could just guess and be like, well, we already know that's going to be on the list, but like I said, there's going to be some unexpected ones that you might be like, wait, I'd never heard of that. This person likes it, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah. So should be fun, should be a good time. But we're gonna get into what we've been playing. I hope you guys check out our YouTube page and rate us on the one thing I do want to say before we move on to is if you guys are listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, please rate and review us. It really helps with discoverability. It helps us grow. It helps us reach more people. And that's really the fun part, is watching some numbers go up. It's a podcast or an RPG in a way. You just like to watch those numbers go up and hear the experience making us better. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And also next week's show, we're gonna announce our first giveaway of 2020. So I hope you guys tune in for that as well. So Ed, what are you playing? Are you playing anything fun? Are you playing anything cool?
Yes, I am.
Besides,
so of course, Kanai.
Yeah.
So started up Bayonetta on Switch. The first one. I've even on when I have the Wii U version, I've never played it. You know, I've never got far into the first scene. But I'm committed to getting this one done, and seeing the whole story through. And I could say, man, from what they did with Bayonetta to Bayonetta 2, it's a major jump, a bigger overhaul. Like,
that's what happens when you have Nintendo money in your budget.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like the production, like this, like Bayonetta 2 looks like a HD game. And I think it's the color and the choices that they decided to go with. The combat feels a little bit more fluid and concise. Cause like in Bayonetta, in this Bayonetta, her kicking doesn't feel good, and I'm like, this kicking I cannot stand. But I can't wait to go through it. It just looks so depressing and muddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff not just like just seeing from the first level to you fighting all the demons on the plane, you just be like, oh, this game pops. This looks so good. This art direction looks so bad, so much better. But I am going to work on that. Played a little bit of Ikaruga, of course, just to have some fun. There's a demo that I played called Strikey Sisters. It plays like, I think it's Kabam. Is it Kabam? Where you got that bar at the bottom and that little dot comes back. You got to hit it and it goes wherever it wants. You break those blocks and stuff. It's kind of like that. I think it's Kaboom or Kabam. I think it's Kaboom. I think that's the name of it.
It's probably Kaboom. Guessing.
It's a old arcade game, everybody. But I was just playing the demo to see what this game was, and it's kind of cool. I might check it out a little bit. There's a game called Echo, EQQO. This seems like the reviews just came out for it. I think it came out last week. I'm not far into it, but this is a game that you really need to play touchpad and not so much on the TV. I tried playing it with the controller, and I'm like, this doesn't feel good with the Pro controller. So it looks like I'm going to. It's getting good reviews. I think Nintendo Life gave it like a 7 or 8. But I'm really intrigued. You play as a boy who can't see, and he has to protect this egg from the snake god. And you know, it has an idea of eco from it for PlayStation 2 and the remaster. It kind of has that feeling to it. So you kind of guide him with touching the gamepad, or not the gamepad, touching the Switch. And so I'm trying to play this on the TV with the controller. It's very off. It doesn't feel right. So that's gonna be a game that I'm gonna be playing like on the Switch. I talked about Kunai, Tokyo Mirage Session, FE Sharp Encore. I'm at the third boss in the game. Like you're trying to save your boss that you work for from this photographer. His like the mirage that took over him. You have to fight. Well, it sucks because I'm getting killed a lot, so I got to go back and grind for my party. But like most of my side characters are weak to some of the enemies, and because of when they're weak, they could do a session, which is a combo thing on them. So I got to try to get them strong enough so that the more that they get hit, their defense is high enough so it won't take on much energy, and I have enough time to be able to do sessions on them. So I got to try to work that out. I probably got to grind probably 7 or 8 more levels up. So most of all my characters are 20, but I need to jump them up to 30 for it. But once again, beautiful game, love the music and everything. But that's pretty much it. I downloaded Snack World, the Dungeon Crawler, Gold Edition. I think this is a game that Nintendo is publishing. It's a dungeon crawler kind of. There was one that they did for the 3DS, and I cannot think of it. And it dealt like with water and everything. When I find it, I'll let everybody know next time. But that's not released yet. But I did pick that one up, in Devil May Cry 3 I picked up also. So those two are pre-ordered. And just waiting for the release date for them. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've been playing on Switch. It seems that there is a lot, but that's that's me playing a lot of stuff. So and now I definitely know I need to start playing more Breath of the Wild, because I need to get that game beaten.
Yeah, you do.
Yes,
So
I do.
yeah.
So that's pretty much what I've been playing, and I'll probably have a longer list next week.
Yeah, you probably will. So, what have I been playing? I've been playing, well, like I said, I beat Hellblade on Xbox, but I mean, I feel weird talking about it, even though it's available on Switch. But I still think it's something like, if you only have a Switch, you should probably be playing it. You know, it's such a wonderful game. You know, it's man, I don't really know how else to tell anybody to play it. It's just, you know, the way they play with sound, and the way they kind of you know, when you go into battle and like you say, oh, like it says, look out behind you, and like, you know, because you hear the voices around you, right? And like it'll say, look out behind you, and sometimes there's an enemy behind you, and sometimes there's not, and sometimes it like really messes with you, so you really have to like pay attention. So it's really unique in that way, and like the way like the different voices are either encouraging you or taking you down or messing with you while you're like in the middle of a battle or solving a puzzle or, you know, fighting a boss. And it's like, it's really, really it's such a special game, and I really want people to play this game if you can, right? It's available everywhere. Like it's
Yes.
If you have Xbox, it's on Game Pass. If you have PlayStation, it's $20. If you have a Switch, I think it's $25 or $30, right? Like it's not an expensive game. It only takes up about 6 to 9 hours of your time, depending on how much you want to do in it. Like it's not a very long game. The puzzles are really smart. Like I love the different things, the way they tool with the environment. It kind of reminds me of DMC in a different way, right?
Yeah.
Where like, you know, in DMC, where like you would go into a level and like the level would just like break apart depending on like where you were, what you were doing, right? And like Hellblade kind of plays with that idea a little bit, but more subtle, where like they have these these gates that you walk through, and like when you look through the gate, it changes the environment in front of you, right? And then when you when you walk by the gate, it shows what the environment will look like, and if you walk through the gate, it changes the environment like that. And you use that mechanic to solve puzzles. Like you can rebuild bridges, you can change the way the landscape looks, you can open doors, you can take down walls. Like there's so many cool puzzles that you can do within the environment with this. And and it's weird, but coming from a Ninja Theory game, like I think the weakest part is the combat of this game.
And we've talked about that on Boss Rush, and I think I mentioned it, that I'm just like, Ninja Theory it's not for stylized action. So to take that kind of idea out and put that form of combat in that game, it really changes everything for you. if you are a big fan and played a lot of their games. I mean, even though they only did 3, did some past games. I just found out. I'm like, they made that game for the Sega Genesis. I'm like, damn, okay. With that comment, because I agree with you. The combat in Hellblade, just like, yeah, if you took this out and just gave me the puzzles, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, the combat's not bad. It's just simple, and it's like I'm not playing this game for the combat, right? It's just something that feels like shoehorned is the wrong word, but it just feels like it's just something there to keep the player occupied when you're not solving puzzles, and I think it could have done without that, but it's what.
Oh, can I say, and this might be a little bit Nintendo, I really think that Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, The Last Guardian, Horizon Zero Dawn, I can't wait to get furthermore to Fire Emblem Three Houses, because even by the way that you talk about it, I feel like those 4 games bring a major impact on how you view games and how they affect you as a player.
Yeah, I've actually... I actually am like,
go ahead.
I'm like really wanting to play it again, right? Like I really want to play it again, Fire Emblem, and like I've told you before where like I feel bad in that game, right? Like playing that game, I feel bad because I don't like the feeling of fighting your friends, right? Like it does such a good job of making you like you see these characters be friends for like the first half of the game, right? And then then the different houses kind of represent a different region of the world, and like when those regions are fighting a war, like you're literally fighting your friends and killing your friends, and it's just so sad, like I want to go back and play a different house, especially with the Cindered Shadows coming out, and I think there's games are starting to address different things in different ways, and it's
each game deals with different themes, and when they can impact you that way, the meaning of that game is more than just graphics and moments that happen in it, like cinematics and just showing off what a system can do. It's just like we talked, like even go watch our pilot play Horizon Zero Dawn and listen to the things that we talk about there. The Last Guardian, just like that connection really makes sense between your player and Trico. And for people who haven't played The Last Guardian, I know there's some frustrating parts with it, but I'm like, stick with that game to the end. And I personally feel like you have a better connection with those two in it. And I love when games do that, when it's not all about the flashiness, but that the themes stick out, and it really connects to you as a player. Because I'm like, that's the things that when we talk about narration in games and more mature games and stuff, when those games can speak to you in that kind of manner, it really makes sense. Nintendo's not always the best at it, and that's fine. But just like to me personally, it don't matter where it comes from. If those games could speak to me like that, I'm all for it. Because like you said, going back to it, just be like, man, I can't believe that this game spoke to me. Because like even Heavy Rain, not David Jaffe, what's his name?
David Cage.
David Cage. Like Heavy Rain spoke more to me as a father and son relationship than Kratos and his son. And it's not a bad thing between Kratos and his son, but I'm just like, man, the sacrifice and everything that he went through to get his son back, that's some real stuff. I mean, just the feeling and the emotion of it, and making those hard decisions, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely there's just a lot of stories are starting to be told in way better ways than then like remember when we were blown away by the Ninja Gaiden cutscene at the beginning of the NES? It was like,
Yes.
oh, there's like a story.
I literally was just watching that a while back.
Yeah. So, Hellblade is amazing. I know the Switch isn't the ideal way to play it, but it is available there. And I think if you only own a Switch and you listen to this show, I know there's a couple of you out there that, have a Switch because you're adults and you travel and you still want to play games, but don't have time to sit on, in front of the consoles, So I do recommend it. It's definitely a wonderful game. So, other than that, what have I been playing? I haven't really been playing a whole lot else. I played a little bit more Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I'm still only about 2.5 hours in. It's I don't really have anything else to say really about it, except for like it's a fun game, and I think people should play it. I think it's one of the I've been really trying to focus on Switch stuff lately, and because I've always had this really weird thing about balancing how I play games or where I play games, and it's been difficult balancing between all three consoles, right? And I was listening to a PlayStation podcast the other day, and like the hosts were talking about how they've decided to dedicate themselves to one platform, right? And they're missing great games on other platforms, and they're they have all the consoles, but like just being invested in an ecosystem and playing one system and the simplicity of one ecosystem has really helped them focus on what games they play and how they play it. And they've just had to come to accept that they're going to miss certain games and miss, finishing games, playing games, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it really kind of hit it really triggered something in my head that said, maybe you should stop trying to play everything and focus on a lot, like just focus on simple things, right? And I've really tried to focus on Switch, and I have been playing stuff on Xbox also, right? Like the games I can't play on Switch, I will play on Xbox, but for the most part, like I'm really putting a big focus on my backlog this year, and I've kind of retooled how I want to do that the last couple days. Just since I listened to that podcast, I made a list of the games. I have lists of the games that I need to play, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start focusing on these Switch games. I told you before the show, I've re-downloaded a bunch of games to play through, a lot of indie games, a couple first party, a couple RPGs, and I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to be like, look, I'm focusing on Nintendo stuff. I'm focusing on Switch, and like the videos I'm making are Nintendo focused, and a lot of the reviews I'm starting to write after the Hellblade one are Nintendo focused, and I want to focus on Nintendo because this is how we started, and I feel like we have you and I, obviously our first love is Nintendo, and I feel like Jesse and Ray and whoever else we decide to, bring onto the team will have a really good a sense of Xbox and whatever else, right? Yeah. So I want to be able to play to my strengths, which is Nintendo, right? And so, what? Were you gonna say something?
No, because like, of course, my strength is Nintendo, but I know for me, I do my best to be universal, and I know it don't seem that way when it comes to games. Definitely doing a whole bunch of podcasts, hosting one, and coming up with topics for my own. It's just like I have to kind of be universal to all of them, so I have to continue to jump everywhere. But I am trying my best to focus on something because, like I said, I like to talk about games in different ways than what the normal or accepted conversation that most of us usually have in gaming. But I am playing more Switch. Like I mentioned in the pre-show, I've been playing my PlayStation 4 because I'm like, I got a ton of games on here, and I need to focus on getting some of those played. And same with Xbox and stuff, because I play my Switch every day. I take it to work with me and I play it. I bring it back home and spend nights playing my Switch and everything. But like I know, like if I got a topic that I want to talk about and I want to do some research, sometimes there's certain games that I have to play on different platforms and everything. And just like you, I want to get back into doing reviews and stuff. And for me, for reviews, that consists of all 3 platforms.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to stop playing the other platforms. I just like
you have a stronger focus.
I know, like theoretically, the Boss Rush podcast should be our pillar, and then obviously branching off would be Pal Block and Arsenal X. But people have DM'd me or tweeted at me or just said some things to me like, Nintendo Pal Block is clearly the top of the pyramid of our 3-show kind of strategy here, and we may not want it to be that way just because we are focused on having Boss Rush be the top of the pyramid, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, and I want to give Nintendo Pal Block my everything I have, right? Like whether we bring back expansion pack or do smaller videos or direct recaps, like I want to make sure our Nintendo content is
top of the line.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. And yes. Sorry, I know I'm like kind of all over the place right now because I'm trying to get Boss Rush edited and posted by tomorrow, but also like also last night I was up late recording with Jesse and we kind of talked through some things, but like I want to make sure our Nintendo stuff is top tier. I want to make sure like we are doing our best providing people with Nintendo content, because like if we start adding staff members and whatever, like I know we kind of talked about this at the beginning, but we are going to have to assign ourselves kind of like roles to make sure everything kind of goes smoothly, right? And like I told you, even if Boss Rush goes away, Nintendo Pal Block will still be here, right? And I want to treat it like that. So, I've just been trying to refocus on some Switch stuff and other Nintendo. Like I have my Wii U hooked up for the first time in about a year and a half. I have my GameCube over here in a box over here because like this the next couple days, while I'm editing, I'm going to try to hook up my GameCube and try to make sure everything's working, because I want to stream. Like I want to get back to streaming, right? Like I want to get back to doing what I was doing before we started doing all this stuff, right? And while stuff is processing in the background or I'm editing stuff or whatever, like I want to be streaming. I want to be a Nintendo streamer on Mixer, right? Like that's like, I mean, I want to be a podcaster and do all this stuff, but like when I'm not doing that, I want to stream Nintendo games. I want to have a Nintendo community around Boss Rush games and Nintendo Pal Block. Like, and that's why I reached out on Twitter. Like I want to be guesting on shows to talk about Pal Block, right? And like, you know what I mean? Like this is our baby. This is our pride and joy. This podcast and the stuff we do surrounding it. So,
and we want to expand.
Yeah,
and get more of the name out there.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not sure what that looks like yet. I've had a lot of ideas. I've talked a lot about a lot of ideas, and it all comes down to time and strategies and stuff like that. But like, this is my favorite thing that we do. It always has been, and it probably always will be, right? So,
I just love podcasting with everybody.
No, I do too. But you know what I mean. Like
when it comes to Nintendo, like of course,
yeah.
Like I could talk all day about Nintendo if I could. And it might seem a certain way, but I'm like,
Some argue whenever you podcast, you do talk about Nintendo.
About Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, like I stated on my 1v1, I was rooted into Nintendo. So my love and my gaming and everything I write and came from Nintendo. You know, that's just me.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's I don't know. That's just kind of what I've been thinking a lot about it. So, I didn't plan on that going that long. But anyways, what else have I been playing? I've been playing. I played a little bit. I've been going through some games just to like get reacclimated with some stuff because I'm working on a big piece on like the games, big games that hit Switch throughout the first 3 years, right? And kind of writing a small paragraph on everything and how they made me feel when I played them, I dove back into Breath of the Wild. I played a little bit of ARMS of all games. Smash.
That's what I need to buy. ARMS. And Splatoon 3.
Also, like, I re-downloaded Astral Chain because I had purchased it and never played it. And I'm like, I don't even really know what this game is about. Like, I do, but, like, just from talking to people. And I watched the trailer for Astral Chain. And I'm like, why am I not playing this game? Like, wait, dude, it looks so good. Like, the trailer made it look amazing, and like just the way why am I not playing this game? The villain looks ridiculously platinum. Like, I don't know. I was like, I fell in love with the trailer right away. I'm like, I'm gonna this might have to be played like right now. So, but other than that, I haven't really been playing anything other than Hellblade and some Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So,
yes.
I also re-downloaded Mutant Year Zero, the strategy game. So that's I've got a lot to play, and hopefully I get to play them soon. So, sorry for the side rant, everybody. I just kind of wanted to. I don't know. I just got really like excited, and when I get excited, I stumble over words and rant and do all these other things. So, anyways, you guys know me. It's 182 episodes in. If you haven't noticed that already, then I don't know. Welcome to the show, I guess.
Right.
All right. Let's get into this first news story, Ed. News bits. Sakurai agrees that there are too many Fire Emblem characters. Imagine that. This comes from our friends over at Nintendo Life. Sakurai understands there are too many Fire Emblem reps in Smash and says it's time to, quote, move on. It's something that's already been decided. Article has been updated earlier this week in his latest Famitsu column. Sakurai touched on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate having too many Fire Emblem characters and sword fighters. While he understands that the fan base is talking about, he says it is, quote, time to move on and what's done is done. Here's more detailed translation, courtesy of Nintendo Everything. I understand. First and foremost, there are too many Fire Emblem characters, and what's more, there are too many sword users. It's something that's already been decided, though, so let's move on. I should be thinking more about other things. The Smash Bros. Director further explains how his own preferences don't play a role into the fighter selection, and noted how Nintendo has, quote, a larger say in the decision making. Byleth, for example, was added because the character is brand new, which is a nice contrast to existing fighters with more extensive histories. Quote, my preferences don't play a role with new fighters are added. Nintendo has a larger say in the decision and brings their thoughts to the table. At any rate, the theme for this character was how much freshness they brought to the game. The fighters that we include in Smash Brothers tend to have come from series that have histories. For instance, Dragon Quest, quote, hero, Banjo-Kazooie, and Fatal Fury's Terry Bogard all first appeared around 20 or 30 years ago. I want to include quite a wide breadth of characters. So, there's been a lot kind of surrounding Smash Brothers lately, and that was, there was an interesting rumor that was actually debunked about Sora coming to Smash. But I am kind of like, I kind of knew that Nintendo probably had a final say in what characters are going in anyway, and it's really interesting to hear Sakurai be so open about it. Like you never really hear Nintendo developers be open about stuff like that.
Yes.
And the fact that he is pretty open about it was really nice to hear. So.
Yeah, and I think I have no problem with the Fire Emblem characters coming to Smash. You're going to learn them or not. Nintendo knows that if Fire Emblem is selling like hotcakes, why not put that lead character that is in the game into Smash?
Mm-hmm.
So it's more surprising to me that they have Cloud in Smash than they have a Fire Emblem character, because I'm like, this is a game that's been around for years. If you knew the history between Nintendo and SquareSoft at that time, you literally be like, wait, huh?
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Like I heard this thing a couple weeks ago about how it was a interesting discussion about Soul Calibur 2, right? Mm-hmm. And how Sony's version of Soul Calibur was supposed to have Cloud in it, and that was they were trying to make a rival to how popular Link was, and Sony couldn't secure the rights to Cloud to put in Soul Calibur because Squaresoft was so protective over the IP at the time, right? And it's just funny how even in PlayStation All-Stars, like Cloud was kind of like pushed to the side a little bit, and how Nintendo got this, pretty much the I would say Cloud, Snake, and Crash are the three PlayStation 1 mascots at the time, right? And the fact that Nintendo has two of the three PlayStation mascots in their fighting game and Sony couldn't get either of them was so just so telling, and I mean, I'm not trying to bash on Sony or anything. Not that PlayStation All-Stars was a great game or anything, but it's just funny how these characters that were so iconic to the PlayStation, you're sitting here playing them in this Nintendo kind of fighting game, and these games aren't even on Nintendo consoles yet. I mean they weren't at the time, right? Except for maybe Twin Snakes and the NES ports of the MSX Metal Gear games, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's just
it took.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that it took Square Enix to lose a lot of money, and because they were putting games on PlayStation like crazy, but people weren't buying them. Some are iconic, but they weren't they weren't Bravely Default iconic, where Square Enix didn't.
Well, I would argue that Final Fantasy is way more iconic than Bravely Default.
Well, Bravely Default in an iconic way, as in they didn't think that a game like that would sell, and people will want that kind of battle system where they hold it up in high regards. And when a 3DS game was making them more money than a Sony PlayStation game, as in recovering development and stuff, it was just like, wait, more people are talking about this game and talking about this game and talking about this game, and it just made sense that every time Square Enix was putting stuff on the Nintendo console, and besides Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, but that people were surprised on how well they did. That stuff was building a relationship back with Square Enix and Nintendo, to where I also think
that Enix had a better relationship with Nintendo than Square did, right? And then when they merged, in the mid 2000s, I feel like that kind of eased them back into it, right? Because Dragon Quest has always been until I mean they've jumped around a lot, but a lot of the Dragon Quest games are on Nintendo exclusively. You look at the 3DS or the DS games and the remakes and stuff. I think 8 was the last major game until 11 to be on PlayStation, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, because nine was on the DS.
9 to 10. Yeah, 9 was on the DS.
10 was this weird
10,
MMO that was on Wii and Wii U only in Japan. And then 11.
Yes.
So
11 they brought it back to PS4 and Switch.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean there's a history there, but I think when Final Fantasy jumped from Super Nintendo to the PlayStation, it really kind of, I don't know, it burned Nintendo in a way to an extent, and then I think that in this world where we can actually play all the Final Fantasy games on our Switches now, and well, for the most part, and where we can actually play as Cloud in Smash, and I still think Sephiroth's going to be a character in Smash, and because of the remake, and they want to garner interest in that too. So, but
well, we'll see, because the way that the music track selection was, or how limited Square Enix allowed them to have, compared to what SNK was.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I don't care about the music. I care more about the characters, right? Like I think, I know there's people that care about the music, and I like the music selection, right? Like I could leave my Switch on all night and listen to the Smash soundtrack, right? Like it's not a surprise. But I also think like people like to see the characters in there. Like when I still remember the Sonic reveal trailer, right, for Brawl, and how awesome that was, right? Or the Pac-Man or the Mega Man ones, or remember how cool the Belmonts were revealed for Ultimate. And there's just a lot of cool things that go into Smash, and how these characters are revealed. Like the character reveals are better than the characters themselves most of the time, right? Like,
yes. That push
I don't see any.
Still
I don't see Hungerbox or Sonic Fox using banjo in Final Smash, right? Like I just don't. But they're still fun to see and watch. So, yeah, I don't know. I agree with Sakurai. Like I think everybody just needs to move on. But also you got to realize like Nintendo's also. They made a game to promote other games pretty much with Smash, and it's just happens to be a fun game to play also. So,
yes.
Yeah. Anyways, our next story is also from Nintendo Life. Ubisoft is launching 5 AAA games before April of next year, and the Switch is receiving at least one of those. Ubisoft's latest financial calls revealed the French video game giant will be releasing a total of 5 AAA games before April of next year. 3 will arrive in the third quarter of its next fiscal year, October through December, and the other 2 will be released in the fourth quarter, which is January to March. At the moment, only 3 of these games are known. Watch Dogs Legion, the Switch-bound release Gods and Monsters, which I'm really excited for, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. All of these titles were delayed last October to increase development time. So what are the other 2? I think a lot of people think it's going to be Assassin's Creed and some...
Far Cry.
Yeah, Far Cry is Kotaku seems to think that Far Cry is the other game, which... Man,
so
Far Cry needs just to
go. Is Skull and Bones canceled?
What?
Is this shelf?
Is what?
Skull and Bones?
I mean...
That pirate game?
I don't know, dude. I don't even care about that game anymore. I was excited when I thought it was like Assassin's Creed but pirates, right? I was like, yeah. Uh-huh. But when I found out it was like this big, weird multiplayer thing, and maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're adding like single-player components to it to make it more that way. But... I don't know. I'm really excited for Gods and Monsters and Assassin's Creed, though.
I think it's going to be another Tom Clancy game.
Well, Rainbow Six,
like Ghost Recon, open world.
I don't think so. I don't think they like to release them that close together, especially with
after
Breakpoint and The Division being so close together. I think they've learned their lesson, and I think whatever other Tom Clancy games they're working on, they're just gonna not shelved, but they're going to delay. Like, I know a lot of people want a new Splinter Cell, and I think a Splinter Cell is coming, but I think it's going to be way later.
I hope it's a Mario Rabbids 2. That everybody wants that.
I can't believe that hasn't been, because like I want another Mario Rabbids also. Like, that's another game that I downloaded that I want to finish and play the DLC, because that Donkey Kong trailer is awesome.
Yes.
By the way, I watched a lot of trailers to make our new intro. That's why like all these older games are popping up, because like I've been watching all the trailers and they're just phenomenal. So
yeah, I really hope it's a new IP. I really hope the other two are really just new IPs. We don't need another Far Cry right now.
I know, that's like the last, like, even if they were working on anything else in there, like, where's the third Rayman game? Where's our Rayman Legacy that was rumored like 2 years ago?
Right. And I know they said Beyond Good and Evil is way off, so they said that's not part of it.
I don't think Beyond Good and Evil is even coming out. To be honest with you, like, I think it's got pushed to Series X and PS5. Well, I just don't. I don't even know if that game's even going to come out. If it comes out, it'll be in an open beta form, and it'll just exist in that kind of space forever.
Yeah, because that game should have way been out.
Yeah.
So
I'm not even close to worrying about that game.
Did you think Trials Fusion is another one?
No, because Trials Rising just came out like last year, like a year ago. It came out in early February last year. So,
what is the one For Honor?
I think it's too early for that, because they've been updating it like crazy. They just had a big update a couple weeks ago with like Assassin's Creed event, I think. Yeah. So.
And what was their? I know they're not doing another Steep, because Steep 2 didn't really sell.
Yeah.
The one racing game that they had.
Oh, The Crew.
Yeah, The Crew.
The Crew 2 did terrible.
Yeah, so they may have given up on that series.
Yeah. An interesting series, but just not great.
Not really executed well. Yeah, I think they just need 2 new games. When we'll see them, who knows? And I don't know how their Stadia business is going to go with those games. Like,
well, I mean, they did the smart thing where, like, if you get Ubipass, you can use it on Steam or Stadia. So, like, it's not like, I mean, if the Ubipass came to Xbox, like, I would be all over it. But that's just me.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna move on to our last story here, because we still got a question to get to. Activision is planning to release, quote, several remasters in 2020. This is from IGN. Activision says that players can expect many more remasters and, quote, reimagined experiences from in 2020 after the success of revived franchises like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and more. During the Q4 fiscal year 2019 investor call earlier this week, Activision Blizzard CFO Dennis Durkin revealed that in addition to new games and IP, Activision will, quote, continue to tap into our portfolio of beloved IP to bring several remasters and reimagined experiences to our players in 2020, which we'll announce closer to launch. Activision already released several successful remasters, including Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited, Modern Warfare, and has Modern Warfare listed here twice. Activision has a library of dormant IPs like Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. There are also several Blizzard titles that could be remastered, including Diablo, which a lot of people think that Diablo 2 is going to be the next kind of overhauled game that they're going to do, although I think they're going to try to take their time because of the Warcraft 3 Reforged thing that's been going on. That debacle has been, dude, Blizzard has just been a dumpster fire for the last, I mean, I love Overwatch, and I respect the crap out of what Diablo does, right? And World of Warcraft is still a monster of a game, but like, what is happening at Blizzard? What is happening?
I at this point in time, I couldn't tell you. Like,
it's just like, what are you doing?
The quality in their business like fell like quickly. Like, how did you go from one of the biggest MMOs with World of Warcraft, to this?
I mean, how do you mess up a remaster of a game that you're trying to build hype for, right? The game, like a Game Informer show went into it, right, where they were talking about like they had Reforged on their cover, and like the cover story, by the time they published the cover story, all the information was already out of date because Blizzard didn't have the budget or the time to finish it, and like they just kind of said, screw it, let's just put it out, right? And like everything that they showed and announced wasn't in the game. Like dynamic story camera angles and reimagined cutscenes, and the only one that they left in was the one that opens the game, right? And like the fact that you can't even get the original version of the game anymore because they merged the clients is like really messing them up. But like, I know this is a topic for Boss Rush. Like I know this does, but like after the success of Diablo 3 on Switch, like they've just gone into like this weird downward spiral, like I don't get it.
I think it has something to do with Activision's part on it, because Blizzard is known for having high quality, not putting the game out until everything was working. Yes, Diablo 3 for PC had its problems, but they worked on it and got they fixed. There is no way that you promise everybody all of this stuff, make it a big deal, and then you just throw it out as a janky mess. Like, who does that? This is the beginning of the year. You guys, they delayed this game, and it should have been spot on everything that they promised on. Blizzard has money. People are still playing World of Warcraft. Y'all are getting major bucks, even from Overwatch. So you're gonna release a janky mess like this? Now everybody's questioning you.
Dude, World of Warcraft and Overwatch are printing money for them, hand over fist, right? Like, just like the loot boxes alone in Overwatch, and the $15 a month they're getting from people for I think it's 10 now. I think they lowered it to $10 a month, but still, like, you have 7 million active monthly users still in World of Warcraft. Like, that's $70 million a month you're bringing in. It's like,
right, just
from that, and not to mention like people still been spending money on loot boxes with the events in Overwatch and stuff. It's just, I don't understand. But
you had the China thing happen, and everybody got mad, so you try to make it up for that. You got this going on.
Well,
now it's just like, you as a company, what happened to the leadership? What happened to the quality that you guys stood for? And yes, it's cool that Rob Ferguson is going to Blizzard to be on Diablo 4, but it's just like, are you going there to get this game shaped up well?
It's gonna. I think it's the BioShock situation again, right? Where like, remember how much of a mess that game was, right? Towards the probably the last year or so, and he moved from Epic to Irrational to ship that game, and then he left after BioShock and went to Black Tusk, which is now the Coalition, right? Like, I don't know, man. I hope Blizz, because I've as much as I don't really care for Blizzard games, like, I've respected them as a company for such a long time, and it's just sad to see this spiral. But we'll save this conversation, because I know Ray especially would probably love to have this conversation with us, so we'll save that for Boss Rush. Write that down.
Yeah, I will. Because Megan Green's question I want to discuss too on Boss Rush.
But anyways, like, I've been hearing rumblings of them kind of remastering Tony Hawk 1 and 2 and putting that on modern consoles. there's been rumblings of them maybe making a new Crash game, like a proper Crash 4. I don't even know what IP Activision has anymore. And Pitfall?
I could actually say I really don't care for any remasters from Activision.
Yeah, I really don't either, unless they're gonna like put a Modern Warfare trilogy out or something. Like I know people would go nuts over that, but like they just did that,
Right. I'm like my thing with Activision is like you're not really gonna put nothing out for Nintendo. So I mean, yeah, okay. So Crash and Spiral, but those games got way delayed, and they should have been out when the other two systems got their games. I don't know if it's an exclusive deal or whatever, but I pretty much feel like I really don't care about anything what Activision has. Yes, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new one, fantastic game. I definitely enjoy it, but I'm just like anything else from them. They're not going to bring it really to Nintendo. So what does it do for me? It is not going to do nothing.
I really hope we get that prototype remaster. I couldn't even finish that sentence with a straight face. I honestly...
I'll stick to Infamous.
Yeah, I don't really care, and I don't even really care to finish talking about this either. So, so... All right. We have one question for the question block. Remember, you can email us at nintendopowblock@gmail.com to get your question read on the question block. We have one question this week. Somebody by the name of Scott Socks. I hope that's your real name. I really hope your last name is Socks. Scott Socks asks, he says, "Greetings, guys. Now that the Wonderful 101 is coming to the Nintendo Switch and other platforms, do you think some other companies will do what Platinum is doing to get their games onto the platform? Do you think this is a strategy they could use? Thanks." Well, I think that Platinum is in a very, very specific case, right, where they want to start self-publishing. They own the rights to most of their IP. Right, they signed a deal to get Wonderful 101 back from Nintendo because Nintendo did publish that game. Then they owned the publishing rights. I don't know if they owned the IP or not, but they definitely had the publishing rights to it. And like, I think Platinum.
I think they did, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think Platinum is in this unique space where they. I think a lot of people still view Platinum as an underdog because their games are a lot of their games are really well received. But they never sell, like, they don't do like, monster numbers. They'll sell like 1 million. Like Bayonetta 2 sold a lot, right? Like across Switch and Wii U, right? Like,
yes,
the Metal Gear sold a lot, but games like Nier took a long time to reach that million mark. That the Wonderful 101 didn't sell well on Switch at all. It had a really high appreciation from people, but it didn't really sell well because it was stuck on the Wii U. So I think they're in this really unique position where they still feel like the underdogs, especially with the cancellation of Scalebound and some projects not coming to light because of publishing deals falling through. And Babylon's Fall looks cool, but like, I know they have the budget of Square Enix behind them, and so like I think they're just really in this unique position to try to do this.
Well, this is the thing about it. It depends on what companies are you asking to do this, because Platinum is more of a second tier independent company, If Insomniac was in the same position and they wanted to bring Ratchet and Clank to Xbox and Nintendo, I could see this happening. But
Ratchet and Clank is owned by PlayStation, though.
Right, but they weren't owned when those games were made. They didn't own Insomniac.
No, Sony owns Ratchet and Clank. They didn't own Insomniac.
Insomniac said that they own Ratchet and Clank. Also, all the IPs they owned.
Anyways, continue. Sorry.
And so, like, if that could happen, or Sunset Overdrive, let's say, if they wanted to bring that to PlayStation or Xbox, I could probably not Xbox to Switch. That probably could happen too. It just depends on like who. It depends on how they go about it. Did Platinum need a Kickstarter for this? Pretty much, I think so. Yeah, because they're as much as a company that they are known for, they need outsource work to help them to do.
I mean, that's why they did. That's why they did Transformers and Ninja Turtles and Korra, right? Like they needed those licensed games to fund their quote unquote dream projects, right? Like another game that I would really love to see them push for is Vanquish. Like I would love to see that come to, and I know Vanquish and Bayonetta 1 are coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 in a 2-pack, right? Like I think that's really awesome. And I know they have, as of this recording, they still have 3 more projects to reveal through their whatever this new website they're doing. I think it's called platinum4.com or something, where they're like kind of teasing and revealing new projects and what they're kind of aiming for. And I really hope a sequel to Vanquish is in there. Because I kind of feel like this is like, some people were like, oh, what if they do Metal Gear Revengeance 2 or whatever? And I'm like, they're not going to do that. First of all, Konami would want to reveal that game. Second of all, they're not going to do that game without Kojima. I really feel that way. Some people were talking about a Beautiful Joe comeback, and I'm like, well, that's Capcom's IP. Maybe Capcom would really want to reveal that through some other channels, right? Like, to me, this Kickstarter and these 4 games are going to be games that they want to self-publish, games that they think that, belong to them and really push themselves,
Right. And don't forget, like Platinum, they have to, for some of their games like Vanquish, they have to go through Sega with that.
Well,
so
they own Vanquish though. Sega was just their publishing partner. They own Vanquish. Like I think if they wanted to self-publish it, they could.
Yeah, but I don't know what the contract is with Sega about that. If Sega was just like, yeah, go ahead and put it on Switch, I think Sega would probably allow them to do that, or something like that. I think I would need a list to see what games Platinum actually own themselves.
Yeah, let me look that up. But keep going. Sorry.
Because with Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3, because it belongs, even though Bayonetta is with Platinum, the first game is really with Sega in a sense, but 2 and 3 is with Sega and Nintendo. Nintendo did all the funding for that and publishing. Sega did part of the publishing, or part of the deal for it. So those 3 companies work together. So it'll be hard for them to get 2 and 3 on other platforms, because Platinum will have to work a deal with Nintendo and Sega for that to happen.
Yeah. It looks like a lot of their stuff is owned by them, like or owned by the companies that published, like Mad World, Infinite Space, Bayonetta, Vanquish, Anarchy Reigns. All are, the publishing rights are through Sega. And Metal Gear Rising, owned by Konami. Wonderful 101. Right. It says Nintendo still on this website, but they clearly got out of that somehow.
Yes.
Legend of Korra and Transformers, Activision. Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard are Nintendo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Activision. Nier Automata is Square Enix. Astral Chain, Nintendo. Astral Chain is a Nintendo-owned IP, so
yeah.
I know a lot of people were thinking that Astral Chain could be ported to other systems, but I'm like, this is clearly a Nintendo IP.
Yeah.
So, and then the only one listed here under Platinum Games owned is Wonderful 101. It's
which Nintendo gave them back to.
Yeah, and everything else. Scalebound is still on here, owned by Microsoft. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is owned by Psy Games. Babylon's Fall is owned by Square Enix. So, like, these could potentially either be they could either be getting IP back from Sega, which could be either Mad World or Vanquish, or these are new IP that they're bringing. So
yeah, and I know Nintendo wants to keep a working relationship with Platinum.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, Bayonetta is such a big thing for Nintendo to have. Like, in terms of, not even if it doesn't sell extremely well, which I think Bayonetta 3 will sell well, but like, even if it doesn't sell well, it's a mature kind of aimed at a specific audience. It's a bullet point for Nintendo to have, right? And like to have Platinum Games make it an exclusive game for you is something that you want on your list of games that you have available for the console, right? So
yeah. and Platinum knows that, working with Nintendo on Star Fox Zero, and probably some other projects that they got planned. I think Platinum trusts Nintendo more, and I think Nintendo trusts Platinum more to be like, you guys make great games, regardless of regardless if they sell or not. We trust you guys to really deliver, and everybody who are willing to give Platinum that chance, they will deliver it. And the reason I said Insomniac, I bring up Insomniac, is because at first they said they were an independent studio who own all of their IPs. So that's why when Ratchet and Clank came up and stuff, they only put it on Sony platforms. But I thought they owned Ratchet and Clank.
I actually looked that up too. They actually,
because it's Ratchet and Clank, Resistance.
Because I know they owned Resistance. Or actually, now that's a Sony own. It says Sony own. I know. I'm trying to find where it said Insomniac before Sony bought them. I know that game they did for EA, Fuse is owned by EA.
Right, because it was a different game.
Ratchet and Clank says it's been owned by Sony since they started. It was just a second party thing.
So it was.
Let's see here.
So why did they...
Sunset Overdrive, the IP is owned by Insomniac. Microsoft owns the publishing rights to that first game. Mm-hmm. But now the IP is owned by Sony because Sony owns Insomniac. So now Sunset Overdrive is a Sony IP. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
Right, because I know they said they were independent studio, or independent developer, and I thought that everything that they made, because of them being independent, they were owning.
Yeah, no,
but they just put it on one platform.
No, I don't know. I think it's just a contract by contract basis.
Okay.
So, but anyways, like I feel like there are other companies that could do this, but they have to be like really, they really have to like, I think, man, I'm trying to think of a developer that could probably do this. I think like maybe, well, I was gonna say Gunfire Games, but they're still owned by THQ now still. So,
not really, because THQ didn't release Remnant from the Ashes.
They didn't. Did they just
It was I think someone else did it, but Gunfire Games, they did Remnant from the Ashes, and it wasn't a THQ game. I don't think it was.
Huh.
I know Darksiders, yes, that's THQ, but they pretty much put it on anything.
I think there's like a really, because like if Capcom or Konami or Activision went to Kickstarter to fund a game, I think people would lose their minds. Like I think Platinum lands in the sweet spot of like, okay, this is a developer that a lot of people like, and they still feel like an underdog, and they really deserve to have their games played. And if this is how they have to do it, then I think Double Fine was a company that could have done this before Microsoft bought them. Like I think they've kind of fallen that same kind of everybody loves them, but their games don't get played a whole lot type thing.
And at one point, Double Fine, because when Double Fine was indie, they did do Kickstarter.
Well, they had their own version of Kickstarter, which is called Fig, I think it was what it was called.
I think so. Yeah.
So,
I think Ninja Theory could have did it if they weren't owned by
yeah,
Microsoft.
yeah, I think Ninja Theory could have done that too. Yeah, but a lot of these, like I think Obsidian or In Exile could have definitely been those studios that did that before Microsoft bought them. There's definitely studios out there that have
That,
this. It just
it's mostly like independent companies that feel like a second party, but they
yeah,
don't belong to anybody.
yeah,
Not saying so much they're. Yeah, it's just that games that when they put them out on a platform like Insomniac, it feels like a second party Insomniac, but they were independent. And if they went to Kickstarter to put some of their stuff on other consoles and not let Sony own those IPs, I think that would have worked. I think people would have funded them to put it on. Now, I think one of the lessons that you do have to be wary of is that yes, it is good that Platinum got this money. I believe that they're going to deliver. It's going to be up to people actually buying it, and whatever they get was worth the donations. Because once again, I go back to Shenmue 3, and it's just like y'all waited, put all that money in, and it turned out the way that it turned out. Even Mighty Number 9, how that all turned out. And it's just like you gotta be wary regardless of they're getting money to port a game that was exclusive to one system to other systems. You gotta be, you gotta make sure that who are you gonna invest in with that Kickstarter. And hopefully Platinum really delivers. Yes, it is coming to PC and it is coming to PS4. So I wanna make sure that all that money that went to him, let those sales numbers on PS4 and Switch and Steam all really showcase that this game was deserved better sale numbers when it first came out.
well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm looking forward to what Platinum has to reveal. I hope we get at least one new IP. I hope there's some love for Vanquish in there. I hope there's some love for some of their older things. Maybe they're gonna work in collaboration with Capcom for Okami too, right? Like I know they've kind of expressed interest in doing that, right? So we'll see. We will definitely see. But that's our question block for the episode. We didn't have a lot of questions, so if you guys want your questions read on the show, make sure you email us or look for our social media threads on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else we are. We're in a lot of places. So, but I think that's it. That's going to be a show. This has been Nintendo Pow Block, episode 182. I want to thank everybody so much for watching. Remember, you can find us on your podcast feeds every Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, this week we are recording on Monday. So if some sort of Nintendo Direct happens this week, which there's been rumors that there could be, this is exactly when they had their first Direct last year. So we will figure it out. I will be doing a Direct breakdown at some point if there is one this week, and then Ed and I will obviously clear our schedule on Fridays to do an emergency episode. So
Yes.
We do have stuff planned to do on Friday, but we will definitely clear the schedule to fit it in. So,
yes, we will.
Yeah. So, you can follow us on Twitter at boss_rush_games and on Facebook and Instagram at bossrushgames. Join our Facebook community. I know we don't plug that enough. It's a good time in there. Hopefully, you guys are participating in the Backlog Challenge. So. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode and Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps.
Yeah. You can find me on social media at IamCorianHD, and you can follow me on Mixer at CorianHD. You can also find me on plenty of other things on BossRushGames.com. And also Ed. So hopefully my Hellblade review will be up by the time you guys hear this. Hopefully some of my videos will be up also. Hopefully a lot of things are happening. So also, just to put this out there, we are kind of looking to expand, add a couple people to the team. If you want to try podcasting or writing or doing other cool stuff, just DM us. Our DMs are open. Email us also. We would love to hear what you would like to do and see if you're a good fit here. So
Yes.
yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And next week, we love you.
Bye, everybody. Woohoo!